Hopefully I'll take you through a little bit of the basics and what I think can help at South by Southwest. So as Phil said, it's kind of a marriage of luck, where luck meets opportunity. And you're going to be at the right place, the right time to meet a lot of people. But the idea is to, when you are at the right place, to have the background that you need so you can take advantage of that opportunity. And which brings us to essentially what will be homework before the festival starts, to call it that. First off, on a band perspective, I would look at your materials before you get down to South by Southwest. You should do that over the next couple weeks. Take a look at your promotional materials, your bios, your photos, your ancillary materials, your press letters. Remember, media and industry people are totally overworked, and what little bit they aren't overworked, they're that much lazy. Make it easy for them. No one's going to be as interested in reading your materials as you're going to be, so make them interesting. Give them what they need up front, fast and simple. So for the first thing you want to have is your URL, your website, or your MySpace. I'm sure everyone probably has one, but make sure that you have on there lots of music, video clips if you have them, your bio materials. And in the top of your bio materials, I know artists hate to say what they sound like, but it's always great to say what you sound like. It's the first question that everyone gets when you see a new band or somebody tells you about a new band. They go, hey, what does it sound like? Bands hate to write what it sounds like. Every journalist I ever talked to, first question out of their mouth, what do you sound like? So bios don't need to be extensive. Writers just want a general idea of bands' histories, some of your key shows, not their whole list of every show you've ever played, but who you've played with. And if you don't want to say what you sound like, how about recommended, if you like? So people say, what kind of music is this? They know. Try to avoid the cliches in this world as melodic, brilliant harmonies, masterful guitar playing. Everyone's seen it 1,000 times. Just create an introduction that sums up your sound, your style, and your attitude. Get a little sense for the feel as well as the sound. When they capture you straight away, that writer's not going to be as likely to put your press kit aside, look to the other 30 press kits they got that day. Give them a reason to look at it. Photos. Create photos that are light, clear, and attention-grabbing. Depict the band as the way that they should be. If you're a junky kind of band, then maybe you should be taking your photos, in some dirty alley. If you're surf music, it should be at the beach. It doesn't have to be, but a surf band that takes their pictures in an alley doesn't make much sense to anybody, and those photos will get scrapped. On your site, make sure those photos are easy to find and easier to download. You can do thumbnails, but at least take those people, make it available for them to get a 300 DPI photo somewhere. For the future, for tour press, everything else, people are going to need to be able to download those photos easily. And it'll also save you the cost of sending out 8x10s. Sending out 8x10s these days is not necessary at all. You can do postcards, you can do half sheets, 8x10s, cut them down, half photo on each side. It's not standard. If you want to do postcards, you can even put all your information on your shows on the back, your URL, your MySpace, booking agent, just cost effectiveness for that. Next up, CDs. As Phil said, you don't need to be taking tons and tons of CDs with you on the road. Just make sure you gather everyone's information. Also, you can give people out your URL, your MySpace, and they get your music there. And always remember to always put contact information on every piece in your press kit. So photos should have your information on them. Your bio should have your information on them. And your CD should have your contact information on them. So that'll pretty much move us into South by Southwest. That's just the basis of what you should have straight away. And we'll be gathering up that material. And when I turn on, send journalists your way, we'll make sure that you're locked down as far as having the basics going. Okay, so moving into South by Southwest, maximizing that. To get as much visibility as you can at South by Southwest, Phil talked about the sheer numbers. I think it's 1,500 showcasing acts this year. It's huge, huge. 10,000 people will be attending from the music business. And then on top of that, you got to figure you have another 20,000 people or 30,000 people just in town just to hear the music. So it's a huge, huge area, and there's lots of hands to be shaken. You can introduce yourself to as many people as possible. Always remember to be on as a band. For your artists, tell them if you're an artist, that's what you should do, as if you're always on stage. I mean, I talked to a bunch of journalists before this, just so we could ask them questions that you might be thinking of as well. Like, what do I do to cut through the clutter? Jan Uhelski from Heart Magazine, she's going to be interviewing Iggy Pop. She said, Seriously, all the bands should hang out together, the members of the band. Dress the way you should if you just walked off stage. It gets your band mentality going. It lets other people see you as a unit. Very important to journalists. That's what they think about. They want you to win, and they want if they like you. And the reason that the way to get them to like you is to present yourself in a friendly, positive way, but to show them the artistic side and show them what you do even when you're off stage. Talk to strangers. Tell every person you meet about your show. Hand them a flyer, keep lots of small flyers on you, and grab their business cards. If they're receptive to receiving a kit, you can send them a kit later, your press kit. You can send them an email right afterwards with an MP3 included on MySpace. Remember that short quote about your sound, about what you sound like? Everyone's going to ask you what you sound like, so you're going to get asked that a ton of times. This might seem the basics to you, but all these writers say it's very important. I asked journalist after journalist if they mind when bands introduce themselves to you. The writer at the Denver Post said absolutely not at all. Somebody from People magazine said she's surprised that more people don't do it and should do it more often. She's receptive to it. She said she'd even, if band invited her to go out and get a drink and she wasn't busy, a band that she didn't know before, if they were polite, she'd go get a drink with them and talk to them about their music. So don't be intimidated by the fact that that professionals might not want to talk to you, because they do. This is a festival about friendship and relationships. Just as much as it is the music, you can go out there and make friends that will last you for years, and for people that'll push for you just because of your personality, force of personality. The online registrants directory is very, very helpful. Besides just all the Australian journalists, all the journalists worldwide are listed on there. You can look through, find if you're going on tour weeks afterwards, and see, let's say you're going to Boston. Look for all the people that are in Boston, and send them a quick email. Say, hey, this is our first trip into the United States. We're playing South by. We'd like to meet you at South by because we're playing Boston afterwards. Local journalists are very interested in speaking to people coming through towns. There's new records coming through town, and established artists are three really big hooks for them. So if you have one of them, you might as well go for it. Now, what should you spend your energy on when you're down there? Besides meeting people, getting your publicist brain on, there's also, number one, first and foremost, is make sure if you're in a band or you have a band, make sure they play a great set. Work your name into your introduction and the conclusion of your show. Lots of people forget that, and people walk in and out during sets all the time. When you're playing, turn off that business brain. Play the show. Love the show. That's it. As soon as you're off stage, turn your publicist brain back on. Get into publicist mode. Meet and greet. Who knows if the band that you meet has opening slots, or a manager has opening slots, or wants to put a tour together, or a music supervisor has space in their next film. Take care of that. Another thing to make sure you do is go to panels. Look through the book. Find panels that are interesting. You can go through to the president's panels, see all the label presidents. People sit around right afterwards and talk, too. There's also mentoring there, where you can look through the book for people that you might want to meet that you don't have a chance to see any other time. And you can get 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there, no problem at all. Do your homework. Reach out to the people that you think can help you beforehand. Make a list of who you'd like to have at your show and actively solicit their attendance. If you're polite, people are receptive to it. They might not go, but they won't be mad at you for asking. And more often than not, they might go. Building your fan base through the media. Think of every little clipping and everything you do here as a springboard to something else. So fanzines. Send that fanzine review to someone bigger. Send that next big clipping to somebody bigger. It's a snowball effect. It gets it rolling. Reach out to people. Hit out people for live shows, reviews, CD reviews, and use this as bait for the next person. Keep those clippings in your press kit. So if you have press kits now, make sure that they're reflected with press attention that you've gotten in the past. It's surprising how many people can be swayed by what other people say. It's the way the world works in journalism. Outside traditional venues at South by, you don't have to really be published, lay out cash to throw together zines. There are tons and tons of zine people down there. Look at the online registrants directory at electronic media right before the festival starts. You will find tons of underground publications that are very, very receptive to speaking to you. And beyond that, when you get back to Australia, charity events. It's surprising how many people are not doing as many charity events as they could. clean oceans, vegetarian causes, voting, support the troops, end the war, anything that you can think of, there's charity events for it now, and they're all getting attention. And besides getting great karma, you can also end up with some good press. Clothing companies always need bands to wear their gear. People skip on this all the time. Look at, I'm sure there's hundreds of combinations of Australian companies that are the equivalent of like a Hot Topic in America. Always need bands to wear gear. Try that. Blogs. Tons and tons of bloggers are out there now. Look, once you set up your MySpace, solicit blogs that run Google searches on bands that you sound like and find blogs that pay attention to them. Just send them a quick note. More often than not, you're going to find that there's activity to be had with them too. And media training, imaging, bios, all these things go into the way you want to present yourself. Remember that the materials that you send might be the first time that these people have heard of you. They might not have seen you. They might not even listen to your CD. They're going to read your materials before they do anything a lot of the time. So make sure that they present a unified front and show what you want to talk about your band. And that's pretty much it for the basics.
Thank you.